Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about signs your relationship is totally over and your ex is not coming back. So this video is for those people that are wondering, if it's completely over and whether or not you should be totally moving on and basically your ex is just not coming back. So the first thing that I want to get into is the first reason or the first clue that your ex is never going to return and your relationship is over is if you haven't heard from them in months or even years. So if you haven't got one scrap from them in years or in a good few months, so let's say it's been maybe 4+ months since you heard from your ex, then yeah, it's likely that they could be moving on and that it's over and they're not coming back. And if that's true, then you should see this as a good thing, because what this means is that, okay, it's over. Now I can move on with my life. Now, ultimately, when you go for a breakup, especially if you were the one that got dumped, you should be trying to move on almost straight away, immediately, basically. Of course, you won't feel like you've moved on immediately. It takes time to heal over relationships. But when someone breaks up with you, the best thing to do is to just accept it right away and to just start moving on with your life. Now, that doesn't mean going right into a new relationship or anything like that. It just means that you're now on a process of healing. Perhaps you get a therapist. Perhaps you, start doing some introspection, start learning your mistakes or finding out the things that you learned from that past relationship and just starting the process of healing, moving on, and perhaps doing things that you haven't done in a long time, like perhaps working on things that you've always wanted to work on, spending more time with friends and family, which you may not have been able to have done. It's all about that sort of thing. Not necessarily moving on at the drop of a hat and forgetting all about them, because that's unlikely to happen right away. But it's all about accepting what's happened, acceptance of that, not trying to worm your way back into their life, because obviously if they've dumped you, then that's not really the most self-respecting thing to do, to try and worm your way back into their life. So it's all about trying to get past that point and moving on and starting the process of moving on when someone breaks up with you. So if you haven't heard from them for months and years, then it's likely that they have moved on and you're probably not going to hear from them. So let's say you have spoken to your ex, then the next sign that your relationship is over and your ex is not coming back, basically, is if you have spoken to your ex recently, you're the one that's always initiating things. You're always making the conversation starters. And basically, whenever you speak to them, you get a really cold response. So they might be giving you one-worded answers, or you can just tell they're not really trying to make the conversation go any further. They're trying to finish the conversation. They don't want to talk to you. And yeah, they're just being basically, you can tell it's very cold on their side. It may even be the case that they ghost you. It may be the case that they leave you on red and things like that, and they don't even reply at all. So if you're the one that's always initiating the conversation and you're not getting anything back out of them, then yeah, it's likely that the relationship is over, they're not coming back, and they have moved on. So obviously, it's not a good idea to keep on messaging an ex when you're getting these kind of responses. I see a lot of people making mistakes in this way. They even do this with, I see people even doing this with people that are not interested in them at all, like a crush or something. They asked the crush out, the crush said, no thank you, basically, in so many words, and they still continue to be like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Hey, what's going on with you? And it just carries on like that for a while until they finally get the message. But they should have really got the message straight away, because if someone doesn't reply to your first message, then they read it, they saw it, it came up on their screen, they chose to ignore it, right? And not getting a message, one of my favorite quotes that I see about this sort of thing is, not getting a message, not getting a response is also a message. And that message is, I don't want to talk to you right now, I'm not interested in speaking to you right now, that sort of thing. Okay, so if you're the one that's always initiating things with the conversation and stuff, then and if you do get a response out of them, it's cold and it's distant, then it's a sign that they don't really want to engage in the conversation and they don't want to talk to you right now, okay? So another sign that your relationship is over and your ex isn't coming back is if you can tell that they are happy and they may be with someone new now. So they're in a new relationship, perhaps they even got married, things like that. So if that's the case and they're in a committed relationship with someone else and they seem really, really happy, even though, what you've got to realize about social media and things like that, and people often, like, social media is like a highlight reel. Like, you see pictures of them on holiday, having a great time, but you don't see them, with their messy bun or, wearing their sweats at the airport, getting all hot and bothered, waiting for to board their flight. You don't see those things. You only see, like, the happy photos of them, like, on like a sun lounger or in the pool looking really happy. Not everyone's life isn't perfect, but if they seem like they're happy, then you have to assume that they are happy and you have to move on, especially if they are with someone new now or they got married and things like that. You can't be meddling with people or trying to get back with people that are now in committed relationships. It's just not the honorable thing to do. So, with that all being said, what can you do when you find yourself in this kind of situation where you can just tell, perhaps you've, learned it from these signs that, yeah, my ex isn't coming back, like this relationship is over. Then, what you need to do from this point on, is to, start focusing more on you. Take the focus off of them. Take the focus off trying to get your ex back, because clearly, for whatever reason, they're not coming back. And you know what? I'm not saying that's like a, like the be-all, end-all sort of situation there. Perhaps, they will come back in the future, because at the end of the day, you really don't know. It could be either way. But if they look happy, they're cold when they speak to you, and, you haven't heard from them in months and years, then, it's much more likely that they have moved on and you're never going to hear from them again. But, there's always a slither of chance that they could. But the point is that, do you even want them back, right? And, an ex is an ex for a reason. You shouldn't really be focusing on them. If they dumped you, they got rid of you, then that's all that matters, really, in that kind of situation. You got to think about how it ended, how the last interaction between you guys happened, and if they dumped you, that's where you got to live from. That's where you got to that's where you got to focus on. They dumped you, they got rid of you, or they're happy without you now, right? That's where you got to think about. And if that's the case, then now you need to start taking your focus off of them and start focusing more on you and improving your life. Improving all aspects of your life, all facets of your life. So, improving your health and fitness, improving your financial life, improving, the friendships that you have with your family and friends. It could be finding new, better friends, things like that. Trying to find a better life for yourself. Because I see people either go two ways in a breakup. And it's kind of weird how, you sort of see this sort of thing play out in different kind of areas of life. But, when a breakup happens, and it was the person that didn't want the breakup to end, either they use that as fuel to become better and to become stronger, and they're kind of like transmuting their pain into a positive, and they're using it to fuel them as opposed to let it derail them. Those people tend to do really, really well, and they learn from their mistakes. But there's the other side to it. There's the other group of people that never get over it, or they allow that hard situation being broken up with, to make them become bitter and resentful and just like a really hateful person towards the world. And they kind of wear that as like a badge of honor. Like, they see it as a virtue, like, oh yeah, I'm never going to love again. I'm never going to be with anyone ever again. I don't care about anything anymore. They were my world and that's it. And, I'm just going to drink and I'm just going to do all these destructive things because I'm heartbroken. You get those two people. And I've seen it in different areas. Like, for example, I have relatives, they grew up with the same father. Like, he was an alcoholic, right? And one of them used that as, oh, when I grow up, I'm going to make sure that my kids have a really loving household, and I'm never going to drink. I'm never going to do those things because I had an alcoholic father. And then the other family member of mine who had the same father, just started acting completely like him. Like, she became like an alcoholic. She did drugs, all the things, basically, had a really destructive lifestyle. And because of that father, right? So, what do you expect? My father was an alcoholic, right? But you see, like they're two different people, same situation, living in the same situation, and two different completely outcomes. So it just shows you how these sort of things are a choice. You know, you can choose to let it defeat you, or you can choose to let it fuel you and help you become better and learn and grow. So you got to decide which one are you. You know, are you going to let this completely destroy you, or are you going to let it become, you know, make you in a way, right? Because you know that's what you see with like some of the you know there's like some amazing people out there that have had the worst lives, you know, worse than I've ever had, and perhaps many of you might be watching. You know, like they were completely beat the crap out of when they were kids or something like that, and they had like really terrible upbringings, you know, stuff you can't even imagine happening to them, and then they're out there doing amazing things and like being motivational speakers, and they've got like these great businesses and they're really trying to help people. And then, you know, you get the other group of people who may have been in the same situations, and maybe even, you know, situations that weren't as intense as that and weren't as bad as that, and yet they've completely let it derail them and make them basically it gave them like a jail out of free card to just like do whatever they wanted and to just destroy their own lives, because they're using that as an excuse. Oh, the reason why my life isn't working is because of this situation. But there are so many people who have been in the exact same situation, maybe worse situations, and have made them become and it's made them become stronger, right? So it's up to you what you're going to do with this situation, right? It's up to you how you're going to handle the fact that your ex is not coming back, right? And your relationship is over. Are you going to let it ruin you, or are you going to let it fuel you and you're going to become the best version of yourself? It's always up to you. It's always your choice. You are in control of your life, and don't let situations make you become a victim, right? Become a victor, not a victim, okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.